The Royal Rumble is a little over 2 weeks away, and we'll go over the match as quickly as possible because there's not really a lot of updates to the Rumbles themselves. Um, I do want to talk about briefly the Universal title, just because it happened. Not the match itself, but and there is one match as well we got to talk about, but we'll get to that a little later. First off, um, Braun Strowman was fired on Raw. Then he was rehired on Raw. Kurt Angle fired him due to the attacks of Braun Strowman, excuse me, to Kane and Brock Lesnar last week. And then was fired and basically destroyed everything and everyone in his sight, including the head of a semi-truck, which was somehow connected to the production trucks, which thankfully did not get put over as well, just the actual semi of the portion of the truck. It's confusing. It'll make sense when you actually see it, when you see Braun actually do it. And if you have seen him do it, it'll make a lot more sense. But nonetheless, Stephanie McMahon rehired him, which in a way it makes sense that they did it. But why did you do it? Why? Because, you could have put Braun in the Rumble. You could have done something different. Because the match stays the same, basically. And again, like I said before, if Brock beats Kane, that's pretty much what's going to happen here. They gave Braun momentum. If Braun doesn't win the title, Brock will retain. It will probably beat Kane. It's that simple. As far as the United States title is concerned, the championship tournament will not take place in the Rumble because it happened last night on SmackDown, and Bobby Roode is your new United States champion, defeating Jinder Mahal. And I honestly felt, Mahal and Roode would be in the final nonetheless, but, we had to let the tournament play out and see if it actually happened, and it did. It was going to happen next week, or it was going to happen at the Rumble. It was very confusing because they said it was going to happen next week. It was going to happen at the Rumble. So they just made it last night, and Roode won that. So I don't know if that means Roode will be in the Rumble, or if Jinder will be in the Rumble, or if they have a match for the title again at the Rumble. We don't know. Hopefully we'll find out next week. As far as the actual matches go, let's go through that quickly. First off, the Cruiserweight title, the Purple Belt of Purgatory, as I've called it. As Shitstain himself, Enzo Amore, defends against Cedric Alexander. This is very simple. Alexander will win the title, and Enzo will just continue his Nia Jax romance thing. Wouldn't be surprised if Enzo retained, though, but, he retained on a count-out last week, so you can't really do that twice. You could, but I don't think it'll happen. And finally, the Rumbles themselves. First off, there's not any actual additions to the Rumble. There is one different change, however. Actually, no, I take that back, because Dana Brooke's in there, and I don't think we talked about Dana Brooke. She's the personnel of Titus Worldwide, doing an Alexandria York gimmick from back in the day, WCW, NWA a little bit, which we later knew was as Terry Reynolds / Marlena. But it's interesting. Will Dana win? No. But I don't think so at all, really. But it's a possibility. It could happen. I don't think it will. And Absolution loses that member because over the past week, there's been breaking news of Paige having to retire over a drop kick to the back of the neck from Sasha Banks. Apparently, they did the spot the night before the incident, and it was fine. But looking at it, and I'm not blaming anyone. This stuff happens, and it's been more common in our business. We've lost Stone Cold Steve Austin, we've lost Edge, we've lost Daniel Bryan recently. You can even put the Draws situation in there, in that whole mess, due to these injuries. They're not dead or anything, it's just we lost them as active competitors. But Paige joins that list, and a lot of people don't know that Paige has been doing this for over a decade. Hell, if you believe some stories, in her interviews, her mother, the legendary Sweet Saraya, and legendary as far as in the UK is concerned, and still in the independent scene a little bit. At the time, she was still pregnant, so technically, Paige made her first bumps while in the womb. She took her first bumps while in the womb, so technically, she's a 25-year veteran, if you count that. Some people don't, some people do. Just depends how you look at it. Uh, so either way, it's a long career. A little over a decade for Paige as well. But, it adds up. All these, some people said they have their bump card. And one too many bumps will, in a way, end your career if taken the wrong way. And at this case, this is one of those cases where that does happen. It's unfortunate. Paige will sit out the Rumble, but she can still manage absolutions. Managers aren't really allowed in the Rumble, but Paul Heyman is an exception because he's an advocate and that whole thing. So Paige could technically still be out there. You could do that. Will the Absolution members win as a result of that, though? I don't know. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are great at what they do, but I don't think they'll win the Rumble. If Paige is involved, it's a possibility, but I don't think it'll happen. But again, Paige's career is likely over. As far as WWE is concerned, it's kind of the Daniel Bryan holding pattern until she can get out of her contract. But, even so, when the doctors say you're done, you're pretty much done. Doesn't matter if you want to prove them wrong, because it's going to fuck you up either way. It really is. And as far as the actual traditional Rumble is concerned, there's only the addition of Titus Worldwide and Elias. First of all, let's go with Elias. I mean, the guy is a great act, a great guy, a great all-around performer, a great all-around wrestler too. But, I don't know if he'll win it. I really don't. He could. You can go after Cena like Joe's doing, but at the end of the day, there's too many big names in this where, if you want to make a star, Elias can be that star. It's possible, but I don't think it will happen. And finally, Titus Worldwide, Titus O'Neil, and Apollo Crews. Apollo could be a breakout star, and honestly, I don't know what's happened to Apollo. I really don't. Apollo was a great potential to be a main eventer and to be a new face in WWE. A breakout star, if you will. But, they've just butchered it a little bit, and he's part of Titus Worldwide. They've recently beaten Sheamus and Cesaro, the Bar, the past 2 weeks, kind of rebuilding it, but Titus Worldwide is just, it's an act on its own. Nanner men will win, but, and it's not even that Titus could win. The guy has been misused for years. That's a fact. And the same will happen to Apollo Crews, even when Titus is gone. So Apollo has the better chance, but I don't think it'll happen with that. The Rumble is a couple weeks away. And, the Women's Rumble, pretty much the whole roster's in the Rumble. Because, you think about it, Brie is, trying to make a comeback. If you've seen Total Divas recently, she gave birth to the child. Maria Kanellis basically, recently, we have learned it's a girl. She's pregnant as well. Congratulations to them, obviously. Maurice is close to giving birth. And Nikki Bella is just on the sidelines. So, if you count them, and if you include Paige, there would be 24 women on the main roster. So, there's a few for NXT. There's a few for some surprises. Anything can happen at the Rumble, and that's always true.